Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Amy Steingart. I'm going to read you two poems today. And both of these poems have to do with my mother, Joyce, who I've been thinking about a lot lately. This first poem is called 16 and 25. We are at the burger and ice cream place where the kids go after dances, after parties. I'm eating all of my fries, each one deliberately dragged through the ketchup. I'm chewing, staring, thinking about ice cream. She is strangely silent. Did I tell you, she says, about when I was 16? Sure, I say, you went to college. No, that was much later. She tells me about a man who played piano stunningly well. He frequently ate dinner at her house, enticed there by her mother. His own parents would no longer have him. When he set foot on their sill, the door slammed in his face. My mother, spun into a web of older, handsome flash. No money, but shining cars with edges that snagged her dresses. Clubs on a school night, her hair drenched in smoke. Her mother inexplicably letting it happen. Her mother holding his hand a minute too long when he brought my mother home. We married, she says, 16 and 25. I stopped chewing, shaky, hold the edge of the table. Married, she says. But what of my two bookish parents falling in love at the university? My father was her teaching assistant, bearing children after her dissertation, both entrenched in the same profession. I thought I knew each chapter of the book of Before I Existed, knew it backwards and forwards. Charming, beautiful, cruel, she says. I was wretched, ketchup sandwiches, bills. An apartment with only cold water, a bed with graying sheets, shaking roaches out of her shoes. I watched the words slide out of her mouth, drop to the table, build up in layers. They are black, shiny, slippery. Not my father? Not the first one to be under the chuppah, grasping her hand a little too tightly? The black and white photo with scalloped edges. She leans back into him as they cut the cake, her smile so huge it pushes her eyes closed. She says she was 16, 1 year younger than me. I already have sheets for my narrow bed in the college dorm. She has stuffed my suitcase with shampoo, tampons, socks, as if I could never get those on my own. My time in my own house is coming to an end. My family watched me do it, she says. No one said a thing. 5 years before I broke out. I'm rearranging pieces in my brain, lining up photos, shuffling, realigning. Try not to get pregnant, she says. I tried. This snaps my eyes open. And I stare at her face, still holding the table, sticky with ketchup and God knows what. I am told I look like my father. All right, I'm going to read you one more. This poem is called Tomatoes. In the back of the closet in my room from baby till 7 years old, was a painting of a woman. Dark hair and dark colors. Sometimes I shoved the clothes aside to look at her. It was a painting of my grandmother, I decided, who was dead. My grandfather came to our house on Sundays with bagels and lox and a new toy for me and one for my baby brother. He remembered the toys we loved, brought new ones that were similar. That red plastic ball with strange splashes of color. I was allowed to throw it in the house. My grandfather could only throw with one hand, not the other. I didn't bother asking my mother why. It wasn't interesting. My grandfather died before we moved to New Jersey, but my grandmother had always been dead. I got my period when I was almost 13, in the exact middle. Half my friends had it, half did not. I called my mother at work, and she was thrilled for the 10 minutes in between patients. I guess she told my father, and he was excited too. Next month, no words, no questions. She didn't show me how to use a tampon. 13. The summer I grew hips. Endless hours in the car driving through Maine all of August. We were bored silly. My father decided to moo at every cow. Cow language became his specialty. My brother created a new version of the family with extremely strange names. We were the Robinsons. I was Specteria Abra Robinson, nicknamed Specky Abe. My brother was Barnold Howdy. He talked about this family's days, which could have been our days. I constantly ate to feed my hips. Look, Specky Abe is eating again, the stupid daily joke. Before that trip, or after, my mother told me that my grandmother was not only dead, she had killed herself. Committed suicide was how she said it. I knew about suicide. I did not know you had to commit to it. I committed to my hips, to my monthly blood. I conceded their existence as part of myself. My grandmother, painted to the back of my closet, committed to being there, flattened onto canvas, mute and still, growing dust as I grew hips. Her unused law degree, battles with my mother over uneaten tomatoes nightly, the doctor's wife, her unused law degree, all grew too complicated, too intricate, too exhausting. Canvas was rough enough to hook her fingers through, lay her cheek against, and be soothed. My mother eats tomatoes now nightly. So does my father. Tomatoes appear on my plate as I cross the line from child to adult. They are more pink than red, straight from the supermarket. I hate them. So that's tomatoes. Thanks for joining me, and see you again soon.